The next page, Black Wall Street, the true story. You need to read this because, you know, we have a rich history, a rich business history, and people are like, oh, you know, black people can't work together. I purposely had this meeting here because, you know what? Go back to the second page. This was named after the Carver Den, George Washington Carver. Who did you think that Carver Den was named after? This is the George Washington Carver Lodge. I'm glad to be here. I don't care if the thing is banging or whatever. All I'm saying is, Dad, don't the Carver Lodge, don't they got some electricians up in here? Do they have, you know what I'm saying, some heating people up in here? You know, people talk about they're Christians. You see a problem, he said, he ain't getting, you see a problem, let's do what I did with Simple Sight Solutions. She had something I want, and I had something that she wanted, and we made a deal. That's the way we got to do it. Sometimes we can barter without money. And please read, it's called Y Combinator. Y Combinator, they're pushing out business startups like they're making automobiles. They started in Cambridge, and they sent out letters to college students who are techie, you know, hackers, that kind of stuff. You fill out an application, they take about 20 to 40 students, they give them about $5,000 to $10,000, and for 3 months they have them work on internet-based business, something like what Sophia was talking about. And they creating all kinds of companies. Then they have demo day. And on demo day, they have all these venture capitalists. Venture capitalists are people who got big money, and they're looking to invest in businesses. And they present their demo. And a lot of these companies have been bought by Google, all kinds of things. The thing would go to Y Combinator, COMBINATOR.com. And see all these .com companies that's coming out of this Y Combinator. And they have created, they can package the startup. And they can actually now, they've been doing it so long, hear your idea and see if it's gonna take off. But all they do is help you launch businesses, internet-based businesses. And these businesses they're launching are making millions. You know, the thing about it, these people who are becoming Y Combinator participants, you know, they know code. They can write code. You know, the new open source code that's out there. And they create, the biggest thing now in the computer industry is software, applications. That's a big thing. Tell your children to go. They need to go to college, and that's what they need to major in. They need to major in computer science. They need to major in software applications. I know you bought your kid the Wii, but you know what? You need to set some time off for them to learn how to write some code. You need to create some millionaires in your home. This is a millionaire movement right now. We're at the beginning stages of startup. This is millionaire. Set some time. You know, those children pick up computers like this. They just born with a computer chip in their brain. You're destroying it, giving them all them toys to play with. Give them something to create. Remember when we was kids, we didn't even have all this. We had to create stuff. We had to create our toys. Give them some time to use that brain to create. I would like to have some code children up here that know some code and write some code for us. Have some young millionaires. I'm going to invite our next speaker up here. Her name is Francine Times. She's president and CEO of her company.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this business conference, because to have something like this in our community is very, very important. I mean, we as black people have to learn to be self-sufficient financially. And the bottom line is, you know, you can't get caught up with people. You got to get caught up in production. Because if you get yourself caught up with people, you're going to be disappointed every single time. So it's all about, building your ideas, building yourself, And then also use that same motivation and energy to help somebody else. Because the bottom line is, when you lose your job, everything else is affected. Does that make sense? All right then. I don't mean to say it like that, but I gotta keep it real. You incorporate yourself, you eliminate yourself from a lot of liability. So my company is incorporated. It's MHMS Enterprises, Inc. But my business name is Elegant Times. And what I do is I sell popcorn clothing for women. And a few people know me. I've been around, you know, the cities and events, and I pretty much show people what I do. And what it is they look like baby doll clothes, but they actually stretch out to fit grown women. This is what I'm wearing right now. That's what I got on. And to look at this, if I don't wear this stuff, people will never believe me. They will think, oh, that will never fit me, or it'll rise. I had 2 ladies already try them on, and I've already gotten sales. So the thing is, if you convince them and they see it, they're going to be amazed when they put it on themselves. So the bottom line is, you know, these things are great for traveling. You can put your whole wardrobe right in your purse. Don't have to worry about wrinkling it. It'll take up so much space, and you don't even put it in your suitcase. Because it'll be like, that's it. You know, so, and when you're ready to put it on, all you gotta do is put it on. It's just that simple. And ladies like to be able to wear something quick and easy, but at the same time, they want to be elegant. And that's something that I've always kept in mind, is that, you know, women always want to be elegant. So what I always say is, women, don't be afraid to be beautiful. God created us, and the thing is, he said our worth is far above rubies. Okay, so if he sees us that way, then you know what, see yourself that way too. Okay, what I want to do is I also want to show you me in this. Okay, there's a picture of me, because this is actually a skirt, but I wore it as a tube dress. And the thing is, here it is, take that too, because I want them to see it. And the thing is too, I just want you to, you know, to look at that and look at me. You would probably say, but when you look at that, you'd be like, I don't believe it. You know, so my belief is, you know, I believe I have to wear this stuff, because that's how people are going to truly say, wow. And the thing about my popcorn clothing is the simple fact that I like to make them smile. Because when they look at it and they're laughing and they're trying it on, it's like they're like totally amazed by what it's all about. So that's basically you know, it about my business. But you know, I'm right back there. I encourage people to try them on, look at them, take them off the package, feel it, flip it up in the air, whatever you want to do. Because what it is you know, my clothes is elegance in an instant. You know, this can transform from wearing jeans to wearing a nice, you know, elegant style long skirt to go with this shirt. And it's just that simple. Okay, that's all I have to say about my business, but I want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of this business conference. And again, you know, I also open it up for people that, you know, that want to start their own business. I'm also a wholesaler. So if you want to buy them from me wholesale and then sell them for whatever you want to make a little extra money or start something, hey, I welcome that too, because I don't want to be all over Massachusetts selling. I'd rather have everybody else doing it. Okay, so the thing is, I'm here to help, I'm here to, you know, motivate you, and I'm here to make it happen for you. Thank you.
To tell you about my business, we opened a store in July of this year on Dorchester Avenue. That's 1878 Dorchester Avenue, and what we have to offer is a lot of natural products, because natural is the way to go now. Organic is the new black, as they say. And so we have different products. The store is called Eden Natural. It's a lifestyle boutique, so we have a combination of hair care products, organic and natural skincare, foot and hand care products. We have natural bath and body products, handmade jewelry. We work with Vian. We have candles, oils, potpourris. We have a lot of home decor and a lot of things to offer. So over there, I have a sampling of what we carry in the store. We also have natural juices, And it's a really nice, eclectic collection in our store, and we try to treat the customers really good. We empower them. We tell them about the things that we have to offer. So most of the things I carry, I have information to go with it so people know what they're getting. They know that, you know, this is a way to make a better choice than taking synthetic things on your body or in your body. So we try to make them know that they can make choices for themselves and take care of their bodies, okay? Thank you. Yes, 1878 Dorchester Avenue.
Hi, my name is Marie Furman, and the name of my company is Elegant Living Home Investment Club. I started the company because I worked in the Boston Public School system as an entrepreneurship teacher, and I was asked to either get a certificate in academics or leave the school. So I chose to leave the school to start my own company in real estate. One of the things that happened while I was teaching, I taught entrepreneurship while I was a teacher to high school students. And it was like one of the most popular classes in the school that I was in. And the students developed projects and really enjoyed the class because it sort of captured their interest. I started working in real estate during the time where, you know, they were selling a lot of really bad mortgages to people. And I was kind of a part of that in some ways, and was very discouraged. Every time I sold a house, I would walk away feeling like, oh my God, these people can't even afford this house. How long are they going to keep it? And as a result, many of the people that I sold homes to were not able to keep their homes and foreclosed. I met Fred King Andrews during that time, and he began to educate me about what was happening, what was really happening in the home sales market in terms of Black people. And because several of my family members experienced the whole foreclosure thing, I began to see that we needed to do something really different in terms of home ownership, and certainly in terms of business ownership, and that the thing that we really needed to do is come together and develop capital amongst each other and stop sharing the capital with Wall Street and Asia. So we started a club, and the name of the club was called Elegant Living Home Investment Club. Now, we took about 2 years to try to develop it so that people would understand it, and I like to call it a private option to home ownership. You know, just like they have the public option to health care, this is a private option to home ownership. So it's very innovative. It's very different. And I heard Miss Grace talk about Black Wall Street. That was one of the subjects that I taught when I was teaching entrepreneurship. You know, how we, during Black Wall Street during the 20s, got together as people coming out of emancipation and pooled our monies together and created homes and businesses in a community that we were allowed to be in. And you know, when all of that got destroyed, we were, of course, after several years, put into the capital credit system, buying capital investments with credit, paying 3 and 4 times what we should be paying. On a $250,000 house in this community, after 30 years of paying for it, you would have paid probably close to $1 million. Where does that money go? So part of our business is based on sharing equity and coming together, cooperative economics. So I know I only have 5 minutes, but my website is www.elegantlivingplus.com. So you can go to the website. We have a book about the business called Kiss Your Mortgage Goodbye. You can purchase the book. The book is a manual to the way that you could buy and pay off a home in 1 to 5 years, not 30. Thank you.
We're going to bring on one more business owner.
My name is Joel McCall. I run a group, education company called Reidrin Business Group. And I'm going to hand out to you a quick sheet that you can use as black businesses to better design and strengthen your organizations. Now, what my education company does is we're an independent group of teachers, and we go around and offer our services. We teach adult education, genealogy, black history, all types of different courses, computer skills, typing, and basic technology skills, job preparation, and so forth. But one of the things that we do is teach business consulting. And one of the things that we found in our travels throughout the Boston community is why our organizations fail. Why do our businesses fail? Why do our nonprofits fail? And it has everything to do with design, how we design our companies. And the thing I'm going to hand out to you, I had some historical artifacts to draw on, because as black business owners and black organizations, whether you've got a nonprofit or a for-profit, or you're trying to build a school, no matter what kind of group you're trying to start, you have to be able to clearly state what your mission is and what your vision is. The mission statements that you get from these agencies that try to help you from the state and so forth, they'll throw a lot of pages at you, and you end up writing a very abstract kind of thing. If you can't say something that says basically, I am such and such, I provide what, and whom do I provide it to, that's your mission statement. That's why you're in business. You need to be able to explain that. They have a saying in the corporate world that it's like an elevator speech. If you happen to be in a big corporation, you're on the top floor, and the CEO of the corporation gets on the elevator with you, and you go down to the bottom, and you're just having a conversation, what would you do? What ideas would you present in an elevator speech, in a very quick speech? That's what we need to do when we're thinking about how we're designing our services, our programs, our products, whatever it is you're trying to deliver to the community to meet the needs of the community. Like I've seen so far, we have some very creative products, things that folks need to feel more beautiful, to eat more healthy, to get housing. How do we fill those needs? And then we bring in the piece about unity in the community, uniting equity and so forth. These are things that we've been doing for a long time. I'm a historian by training. Let me ask you all by a show of hands, how many people in this room have heard of a place called Nabta Playa? All right, we got one. How many people in this room have heard of a place called Stonehenge? Stonehenge. Yeah, a lot of people know Stonehenge. It's those rock formations in England. That's a calendar. They put those there, and they don't really know what they were for. But Nabta Playa Stonehenge is 3,000 years BCE. Nabta Playa is in the Sudan, in Nubia, and it's 10,000 years BCE. That was built by black folks in the Nile River Valley system. How did they get that work done? And how must we do it today? We have to be scientific about the things that we do. As we were many different groups of people moving around Africa, we moved and settled in the Nile River Valley civilization and settled in the Niger River Valley and some of the southern African river valleys. And instead of chasing our food and all of that and eating wild fruits and plants, we started to grow them. We domesticated them, animals and plants. That gave us time to build up a little bit of surplus so we could sit around, observe the universe, and start to think about science. And we said, well, these stars over here, every day they rise up there, but over time it stops and then it goes here. Well, we set up stones, and the stones let us create calendars, start to measure time, and observe our universe. We have to be scientific in our businesses, not just go into it because it's something that we feel like we need to do and we got to get pushed into it. We need to go in and design on purpose what we're trying to do. Be scientific about it. Who am I trying to reach? What is my vision? Where do I want to be in 3 years with this organization? Do I want to have 2 stores? Do I want to have 2 employees at least, full-time pay? What is it that we want to do? And if we do this and we think about our businesses in terms of process, if you think about it, any job you've ever had, somebody brought some raw materials to you, put it in your inbox or somewhere, you put it in a workspace in front of you, added some value to it, put it in an out tray. Everybody's work involves that. Well, that's all you got to think about. Simplify your business. I don't care if you are a car repair person, you're selling jewelry, you're selling apparel, you're getting something, adding some value to it, and delivering it to the next department or customer or somebody. Break it down. How do you do the work that you do? That's very important. Then we can achieve a level of excellence, just like our ancestors, like Harriet Tubman, for example. Don't forget, she never lost one passenger on the Underground Railroad. That's 100% perfection, okay? So think in terms of that when you're pushing your products or your services, your daycare service specialist. How many kids are you reaching 100% the way that you want to reach them, delivering safety and security and education? All right, that's my time.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have another community hero family in the audience. And our next speaker is Jesse Jeter.
Thank you, Grace, for inviting me. Real quick, Jesse Jeter, Jetaway Company. We sold part of the company. We built it to $17 million in sales over a 40-year period, but we sold 70% of the company, so we're a lot smaller than that. We're roughly about a $2 to $3 million firm today. Started by my folks, 1968. And so I said, well, it's actually 1965. And so 1965, 65 employees. Again, I already said it, we built it up to 17 million. My dad died in 1991, and so we carried on the company as a family. And again, just sold it actually, sold that large portion of the company last year, October. And so again, we really built that company, a lot of hard work. It was a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. But I can say, and I will talk about it a little bit with this group, building a company to $17 million takes a lot of what the gentleman just was talking about in terms of business planning. But it is a lot of hard work. A lot of fun, a lot of hard work. So that's company number one. Company number two I'm involved in this not-for-profit. I have fun with it. It's called CEDA, the Christian Economic Development Association. Again, that's CEDA, C-E-D-A, Christian Economic Development Association. And we're pretty much what we're doing here today, which is bringing business leaders together to network. It's www.ceda.ministry.org. If you want more information, I'd be happy to get that to you. But we do some really dynamic events. We do a business-to-business symposium for women. We do a money summit, and we had that in Randolph. Bringing folks together to talk about financial planning, financial literacy. The Women's Symposium, for you ladies out here, it's really a great event. If you're a lady, you should be at that event. If you want to network with women who are in business or interested in being business. And we had that event actually at the Mass Convention Center. The last in business, and I brought some information on that I'm involved in. So I'm involved in Jetaway. I'm involved in this organization called CEDA, Christian Economic Development Association. I volunteer my time with that. And I'm also involved in a business that my wife and I have started called ACLC Ministry, Ann's Christian Learning Center. If one of you guys at my table wouldn't mind help me hand that out, I'd really appreciate that. ACLC is, we teach kids from grades 2 to 8, educational services, math, reading, language arts, 4-year-old company, about $500,000 in sales, so it's not a big company. So I know everything from starting a company to getting into 17 million. Now I'm involved in a company that's $500,000 in sales, projected for 2010. So I'm involved in entrepreneurship. It's a thing that I enjoy. My wife runs the company and she keeps me at bay. So I love being involved in ACLC. I love the trash business, but actually being involved in the financial literacy business, I find more fun, more enjoyable. Love to see kids do well. And I want to talk about the top 10 reasons businesses fail. And if you give me your email and you wanted to have this literature in this presentation, I'd be happy to send it to you. Here are the top 10 reasons businesses fail. And again, my presentation is talking about today, selling, sales. which was actually my area of focus at Jetaway. So I'm the guy, I like to tell everybody in bragging, although my mother will say you were not, the guy to help spearhead the company to that growth pattern. Item number one on this list that I looked up was overexpansion. They get big and they try to get big fast, and we want to show everybody off. We want to show off that we're big and we're bad, and we overexpand. And what do? We end up having too much debt. So number one, overexpansion. Actually, I'm just going to give you, and I'm going to emphasize a few of them. Number one, overexpansion. Number two, poor capital structure. Number three, overspending. Number four, lack of reserve funds. Number five, bad business location. Number six, poor execution, internal controls. Number seven, which is what the gentleman was referring to just a moment ago, an inadequate business plan. Number eight, failure to change with the times. Something I would always say to my dad. You know, as the times have changed, we got to change a little bit. Number nine, ineffective marketing and self-promotion, which is what I'm going to focus on today. And number 10, underestimating the competition. Did you get them all? Those who want, I can repeat it for you. Did you get it all? I'd be happy to. There you go. Just interactive. Don't be shy. Number 6, poor execution and internal controls. Number 7, which is what I'm going to talk about, an inadequate. No, it's not what I'm going to talk about. It's what the gentleman was referring to. Excuse me. Number 7, an inadequate business plan. I'll tell you something about number 6 here I thought was funny. Poor execution and internal controls. Many times when we start these companies, and we did the same thing, we hired auntie and them, uncle and them. Here's the tough part when you start a business like that. Auntie and them, and uncle and them, cheap labor, really devoted, but once a company breaks a certain dollar amount, are you the gentleman from Lawson's?
Yes, I am.
So you may be able to, a whole lot you may be able to relate with this, but I'm sure you can relate to this. Once you break a certain dollar amount and you need a certain sophistication, you find that you're in this very difficult position where auntie and them and uncle and them don't have the skills to stay with the company. Because now you're no longer $500,000 or $1 million or $5 million. Now you're $10 million. I remember this was when we broke $10 million. We had to hire new people. That is a very difficult conversation with uncle and them and auntie and them and saying, we need to do something here. Either we need to find another location for you, the company, which is very difficult because they become territorial and defensive, or we need to make an exit strategy. I would suggest, even today, the gentleman was talking about building your business. Think about that now. You know, as you build your company, and it's hard to do it when you're struggling and you say, man, uncle's saying, hey, I'll work for free, or I'll work for a chicken dinner. And so of course you're building this company, but I just recall this being a very, very difficult place in the transition of Jetaway. Uncle and them, auntie and them. Actually, I had one aunt who actually stayed with the company and did well, but we had to shift her in the company. What I wanted to talk about today was just building the company from a sales and marketing standpoint, specifically the sales strategies. I'm really going to tailor it towards what I see in the African American community, or our people, black folk, and how we sell. A review of 3 strategies that we've used. There were 3 strategies that I thought we did, and I'm going to talk to you about them really brief, that I thought were, well, worthy of a discussion. Those 3 strategies are sales strategies that we use to build the company, cold calling, the 3 I'm going to talk about anyway. I'm not saying they're the most effective, but I want to talk about cold calling, networking events like this, and trade shows. So this is kind of like that same vein. Cold calling, networking, trade shows. Cold calling. Here's what I found to be, although I'm going to read some literature, although most of us don't enjoy cold calling, knocking on the door and saying, hi sir, hi ma'am, how can I have your business? Lawson's is a little different. People approach that business. But in this case, many of us have to do cold calling. Although it can be the most expensive method of growing your company, it can still be an effective method. Why? Because your competition is doing the same thing. They are not playing it safe. They are not sitting behind their tables waiting for business to come to them. They are going out and getting their share of the pie, and I suggest that you do the same. So if you're shy, you're just going to have to deal with it. We cold called, and again, it was very expensive. We had people at $50,000 in salaries. we only cold called when we went on a warm call. So a cold call, we only cold call when we warm call. So somebody called in jet away and said, hey, I want a 2-yard container, I want a 4-yard container. We would go out. As a rule of thumb, we would call on everybody in that very specific general area. My rule of thumb, personal, was I want to hit 3 businesses. Some people say 5, some people say 7. But my rule of thumb was I want to go around to certain businesses and say, hi, can I get your trash disposal services? How would I do that? I'd ask the person who I was on the warm call for a referral. So if I'm knocking at your door, you called me in, Carver Lodge called me in, I'd say, hey, would you mind if I went next door, and our salespeople were all geared this way. Would you mind if I went next door and said, Grace said I can come over to your business and you may need my services. We found that to be very effective. So we found cold calling just from a general blanket to be very expensive, not very effective. But if I could go to a Grace and she said, go see Sam who's next door, and I said, Sam, well, Grace said you might need my services. Our close ratio on that was close to 50%. That's very high. That at some point, that customer said, well, if Grace said they were good, why not? And we were a brand in the community. So Jetaway's a brand. We were a known figure in the company, and guess what? Grace said, give us a shot. And so we would warm call, we would do a cold call when we had a warm call in the community. If Grace didn't give me the referral, what we would also do is say, Grace, would you mind if I walked in the community and said, and just dropped your name? Grace said. Powerful position that Grace said, particularly if Grace was respected in the community. Obviously, you don't want to do that if someone's not respected in the community. Oh, Grace said. And we would do that to produce sales calls. And so we'd pick a number of hits, and we would walk around the community. And the other thing that I found that was being very effective, and I threw this in because of our folks, the follow-up was critical. Don't do Grace said, don't do the cold calling if you cannot follow up. So just don't do it. If you probably do worse to your name, a good name is better than silver and gold. But you do more worse to your name to say, hey, I'm going to follow up. Grace said, you did all this homework, you took the sale back to your office, and you didn't follow up. Get somebody to follow up. And so our follow-up was good. So we streamlined the process over a 40-year period. We would do cold calls when we had a warm call. We'd pick a number, 3, 4, 5, 7, whatever you want to do, and we'd use a referral person, and we would always do the follow-up. Any questions on cold calling? Don't be shy. Thank you. Oh yeah, I can get a lot out of you. Thank you. Cold calling, if you just do cold call, if you have salespeople and say, listen, I just want you to go throughout Codman Square and just cold call, knock on doors in every business. And if you're paying them, if you're paying them on a commission, it's different. But if you're paying folks a salary just to walk up and down the street, that is one of the most expensive methods of growing a business. But not the kind that I just described to you with a referral hitting very specific businesses in a given territory. Other questions? That's cold call. Networking sessions. I know what you guys are doing this, so I'll be this real quick. The woman spoke from the real estate firm. Everybody just jumped right up on top of her and got information. I thought that was dynamic to see that happen. She's got information. She shared her business cards, and that worked well. Here's what's happening with networking events. Advertising, items such as newspapers, mailers, radio, those are on the decline. You know, a lot of times I say that here, when was the last time somebody even bought? Let me speak for myself. I can't tell you the last time I even bought a newspaper. Can't tell you the last time I bought. So if you're advertising the newspaper, and I just told you, I literally cannot tell you the last time I went into a store and bought a newspaper. So it tells you already, if you're using it as your major vehicle, you're not reaching Jesse Jeter because he's not there. He's on the internet. So I know there's a gentleman here who helps you get on the internet. He gave me his card and said, hey, listen, this guy's going to help me put my organization on the front page of Google. That's where I'm living at right now. And so that's that new market condition that Grace was talking about. That's where the market is heading. Networking events, however, are still very effective. Networking events help you find hidden opportunities and can get you separated from your competition. An indirect approach is better than a direct approach. Hard for black people, hard for people like us. Because we don't have, if we go to a networking event, you know, of course if we see somebody else, and so we're in a venue like this and there's 200 people and we see two black folk, we tend to do, what do we tend to do? We say, hey man, what's happening? You go over there to his table. Although he's probably doing the same thing that you're there for, trying to get some business. So I'm gonna say a handful of things to you. When you go to a big networking event, specifically when there are not a lot of people who look like us, try to get somebody to introduce you to a key person. Because you walk up, they don't know who you are, but if I can say Al, and Al, you know, a lot of these networking events, they're big time into diversity. You show up, Al knows you, they want you there because you're a person of color, they love the diversity, but you don't know anybody. You want to take Al, who introduced you, who is the executive director or somebody assistant in this organization, and say, Al, I want some key contacts in here. I'm not just here to show up as a person of color for your diversity and for your pictures. I'll tell you another joke. Almost every time I'm at an event with a political candidate, I'm in every photo. They were literally, one time I was at an event, well, I'll even tell you, well, I won't tell you who it was. But it was, he showed up at the event. I stood right there because I know my position. I know what you invited me here for. He came out of his limo. He came right over to me. The cameras came right in front. He took his pictures. They got what they wanted, to show diversity, and that's what they wanted to show. But now I got to get what I want. Now it's my turn. I want 10 contacts, key contacts, when I leave this event. You're big into diversity. As most of you already know, the Latino community is a phenomenal growing population. That's going to become key as we grow our businesses, and so we got to play on it. You want diversity? I want diversity, and how do we make money? So my point is, when you go to networking events, it's really critical, if you can, to have somebody to do the introductions for you. Trade shows. Now, I thought there was going to be more trade taking place here, but still, trade events can be very, very good. 3 suggested focus tips for exhibiting. Something that I noticed that happens at our events is that you want to have very powerful, you want to separate yourself. Now, one of the quickest things, when you look over here, you see my buddy Charles with Touch 106.1. I mean, he's out there. You see his banner. He's very visible, so it makes it easy to see him. Those are good things. Another thing that Charles would do, and I'm just going to speak on Charles because I kind of know him like that. Let me use my proper grammar. I know him like that. And I said I know him like that, D-A-T, but listen, I know him like that. I want to get comfortable with you. Is he's going to be attentive when I go to his table. What I notice about African Americans, black people of color, nothing worse than to have somebody and they're behind your trade fair booth. You spent thousands of dollars on that booth. You spent a lot of money marketing that booth. You spent money getting in there. And the person behind the table is on their phone, and you walk by, and they give you the 1-minute sign. Like you're disturbing them. I want to do business with you. You are literally, I'm coming by your table, and you give me the 1-minute sign because you're on your cell phone and you're talking to a friend of yours. So I would say, hire folk who are into it. Why hire somebody to be behind a trade fair booth that you spend all this money for, and they're not really into it? That's not their thing. Hire people who are really into it, or get them the training so that they can get into it. So again, I'm gonna pick on Charles again. You want to have a table that's very visible, people who are engaged to what you're selling, and just effectively use the booth. We often, if we didn't exhibit, we would walk through a trade fair because there's some great context. Our biggest contract that we had received, I'm trying to think of the years, 2010, so that must have been about 2002, maybe even earlier than that, was at a local church. We got the South Boston Convention Center because I was walking through a local church in Roxbury, Jubilee Church, and they had an exhibit. I'm walking through, he's walking through, and this tells you how good these exhibits can be. Turned out to be several millions of dollars, and he said, man, I've been trying to reach you. And so I just so happened to be there. So my point is, these kinds of events can be very, very profitable. But you want to be, when you're walking through, obviously you want to be visible. And something that we would always do is we would have the program book of who's exhibiting. I always want to know who was in the audience. So if it's a big exhibit, I want to know who's there. And I don't like spending time when I go to networking events or exhibits chit-chatting with friends. I'm not there to chit-chat with them. I'm there to conduct business. If you want to chit-chat, I got your phone number, you got my phone number, we can talk when we leave here. But when I get to networking events, and this is really, I'm echoing this big time, because I see us do this all the time. Again, it's 200 people, there's 5 people of color, and we all tend to conjugate. It's not what you came there for. You want to chit-chat, you can do that anytime. But we came to do business. And so anything on those 3 in terms of sales and how we grew the company. Again, I talked about cold calling, networking event, trade shows. Here's something that my wife, again, we have a business, and we call it Ann's Christian Learning Center, providing tutorial services. We have a summer program, homework helps, after school homework help programs. We help kids with MCAS preparation. I find it a joy to do. We have a location down Lower Mills. We have 2 sites, one in Jamaica Plain, the other one's in Lower Mills. And something she does, is I tend to be that more verbal and extrovert. She tends not to be the extrovert, but she does a dynamic job of preparing for the sale. My wife is very tedious, and I've learned from her, of preparing for the sale. So when she's called in, so what I talked about was generating the sales lead, cold calling, networking events, trade fairs. But when you're called into the sell, she does a very, very good job. Most of us work very hard to get in the door, key buyers and influencers. But most of us, many of us, do not do a lot of due diligent work of preparing for the sale. Here's a rule of thumb. If you've got a 1-hour meeting, you should spend at least 1 hour preparing for that sales call. So again, if you got a 1-hour sales call and someone's inviting you in, you should spend at least an hour preparing for that sales call. Always, we got a thing about time, being on time. We as a people got a thing about not being on time. And arrive early. Our rule of thumb is we always arrived 15 minutes prior to the meeting, at least 15 minutes. Someone had a saying that I like to quote. If you arrive early, then you're on time. If you arrive on time, then you're late. And if you're late, it's unacceptable. And so I hear that, and I've echoed that, message to our salespeople, that again, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, then you're late. And if you're late, that is unacceptable. One, a lot of times I find that people of color, when they come to our sales meetings, is that we're not organized. We're shuffling through pieces of paper. So you set aside some time to meet with me, 11 o'clock on Wednesday. You come there. Your materials should be out. Again, if you're early, this should happen. But your materials should be organized. You need shuffling through your folder to find the right literature. So again, arrive on time, be organized, and demonstrate that you did some homework. If you want to talk about getting business from ACLC, if you want to get business from Jetaway, there was a woman earlier who was talking about doing our website. Do a little homework about us. What is our mission statement? How long have we been in business? Who are the founders of the company? Just basic stuff that you can get online in 10 to 15 minutes. Learn a little, show me that you care about my company. Now, why do I say that? People who don't look like us, they do that. I mean, they come in, they actually, it's just an interesting thing when you talk to somebody and they know your company mission statement. They quote it. Hey, you know, your company mission statement is the blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, it's impressive. You took some time out to learn about my company. Even if I didn't want to meet with you, that said, you care about what I care about. We might have something going on here because you care about my business. And so you took the time out to learn about my business. So again, you arrive on time, be organized, demonstrate that you have done some homework. Here's my last point in this whole presentation. Keep it professional. I know I'm black and you're black. And it always kind of gets me when somebody just meet me and they say, come on, man. Come on, brother. Come on, brother. That's what I call him. This last sentence. Come on, brother. Come on, sister. And I'm thinking, we just met, and you're saying, come on, brother. What's the price I have to be at to get the job? We don't know each other like that. I'm black, you black. We don't know each other like that. I don't know if your services are good, the quality of your materials. You got to demonstrate to me that I should do business with you. Not just because we've got the same color skin. You know, our folks come from Africa, your folks come from Africa, therefore I should buy my stationery for your firm. Are you going to arrive on time? Is the quality, is the price competitive? I mean, I have to know these kinds of things. These things are critical to me so that I can grow my company. I'm not $17 million for nothing. I gotta feel like I have the best part of the team. Is it a critical part of our goals that we do business with women of color and minorities, people of color? Yes, it is. My mother's a woman, so it was critical to us that we did business with minorities. It was critical to us that we did business with females. I'm sure Lawson's would share that same sentiment. And I used to say, well, come on, brother, let's be professional. You know, come on, sister, let's sell and let's be professional. And so I think that being carnal, I would always get, it left a nasty taste in my mouth that you just met me and we're being casual with each other so quickly. And so that's probably the bigger statement, that when you go into that door and you're making that sale and you're closing that, keep it professional. And even if they relax a little bit, you know, don't go for it. Keep it professional. So those are my key points. I had a very great, enjoyable time. Please ask. Now, you can't be the only one asking questions, and I appreciate you that you're engaging me. Thank you.
Your answers from Madison, they had just, you're worth $17 million. Did you sponsor this program with your own funds, or were you government funded?
Own funds. It's a private company. Private company. Took me a lot more. It's taken us a lot more time than I thought to develop ACLC. Rewarding.
When did this come into?
2002.
You have two companies, one's a private.
Both are private.
Both are private. One's a nonprofit and one's a profit.
The three companies I'm engaged in. Jetaway, again, we sold a large portion of it. Jetaway Trash Company, for-profit. CETA, Christian Economic Development Association, just a fun company. It's just some business folks who are of faith, who want to do business, and we have these three events, and that's volunteer, it's a not-for-profit. And then the other one, which is ACLC, it's a for-profit education support service.
So do your for-profits fund your nonprofit?
To a large extent, we do get others who help sponsor it, members who help sponsor it. One of our biggest sponsors is Citizens Bank. And so Blue Cross Blue Shield, Citizens Bank, so we've got other corporate sponsorship dollars that flow into it, but I do put some money into the organization as well.
How are your three businesses structured? Are they under umbrella corporation, or do you have like three?
Separate. All three are separate organizations.
And why did you do that?
Jetaway is, my folks started, I've got 4 other brothers, separate business. So that started in 1965 again, separate businesses. So when we launched out and did, and I shouldn't say I did it with some other folks when I did CETA, Christian Economic Development Association. It's kind of like we just started to do something that we thought would be enjoyable. And so it's a separate, not-for-profit, 501c6. The for-profit is just my wife and I. And she runs the business. And so I probably put in the company that you're looking at, ACLC, maybe 5-6 hours a week into it, but she really is the force behind the company. Yes, sir.
It's a family business. Well, this is what I call a grassroots. It started from the ground and worked up. And his father was one of my clientele in my business. I was involved.
Didn't know that.
For many years, even when his sickness came, he stood up strong like a man. And I did his hair right up until he was basically unable to come to my place of business. And we sat down and we talked, we had a good conversation. We talked about his business, you know, how he came about, him and his family, and so forth. He was one of the most 10 prosperous Black Americans in Massachusetts, the Jetaway. Most people call Jetaway is Jetaway. But you have made a beautiful statement.
Thank you.
About your family. Keep pushing. We're going to push on.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Grace, for inviting me.
Thank you. Touch 106.1 FM, our sponsor for this event. Another critical part of business is finances, and reporting and taxes. And I have a young woman in the audience. She does QuickBooks accounting, Candace Daly. And I just want to invite her up to talk about QuickBooks accounting and setting up your business on computerized QuickBooks.
So I just want to give her like a brief background. I went to a 5-month course. It's called Mandela Learning Center. It's run by Royal Bowling, which it teaches you basic accounting and bookkeeping, and it also teaches you QuickBooks. QuickBooks, once I left from the accounting program, I got a job at downtown at Urban College of Boston, where I'm the staff accountant there, and I basically do QuickBooks, use it pretty much every day. QuickBooks is one of the best, I would say, small business accounting software. It's very easy to use, easy to learn, and I think a lot of small business would, I don't know if people have it, but a lot of small business would really profit from having QuickBooks on there. It's very good, it's very easy. They do have classes. I know they have classes at adult basic education centers.
But family child care remains a child care that is, and they provide early care and education services. They provide healthy food to children. They provide care and education. We have a commitment to young children and families in the state, to parents, to working families in this state, and we have a commitment to children, especially the children from our communities that were at risk from low income families who benefit the most from high quality early care and education services. I'd like to bring you up to Deloise Oglesby, who is also a member of the American Family Child Care Association and also has her own family child care business.
Business for like 33 years or something like that. And I started out, I moved to Boston from Georgia, and I came to Boston and I had, I was married, then I had a little girl, and so it was a hard time finding daycare. And so I had a number of jobs before I started doing daycare. So I started to, wanted to stay home with my kids. And so I had to have some kind of income. So I started doing daycare. And so far, I've been keeping my grandkids from there. And so I just started to keep it everybody else's kids. And so it's a rewarding business, but it's hard. It's really hard. And so at this point, I'm going for my CDA. And so in order to stay in the business, because we have to get our CDA or some kind of accreditation or something to do daycare. And so that was about it. So, and I am enjoying being a provider and taking care of people's kids. And I had kids from 34 years old from when I started earlier, and I see them in the street because I keep them till they're about 6 years old. So I got my license for 8+2. And so.
We also have a hotline. We can help families find programs such as Jesse Jeter's program or any program for youth anywhere in Massachusetts. The parents and the public can call 617-929-0555. We can find you programs for youth 0 to 12 anywhere in the state. We also help parents navigate the system, get services that they need. We also help families advocate as well. We are, yes. 617-929-0555. Yes, it is. It's also a hotline, Monday through Friday. You call there and you're looking for a program for youth. We can find out We ask you your information, and we'll find a program right where you live or where you work for your children or youth. Not just for early education, but we're connected for all youth programs as well. We're going to come to a close, and because we want to help people start their own business, expand their own business, find the resources out there to do so, and encourage others in our community to start their own business. For people who are looking for opportunities, they have already did market assessment of business opportunities, and what they found that in the primary area, so this report back there outlines those opportunities, and they term the populations in those areas, which is about roughly like 60,000, who are buying services, goods and services outside of the area. They call that sales leakage, money going out of the neighborhood. So there are, here is a business assessment of businesses that are needed for those areas, and you can pick up a report of that in the, at the front table in the front there. I would like to thank everyone, our sponsors again, Touch 106.1 FM, the fabric of the Black community. Also, our exhibitors for exhibiting with us. Also, our presenters who presented the workshops today. I think every one of them presented valuable information, and they came out and take their time out to share it with you, to let you know what opportunities that are out there. And I would also like to thank you, network with others, and thank you so much.
1965. At that time, the average income was $6,450 a year. Gas was 31 cents a gallon. The cost of a new car was $2,650. A loaf of bread was 21 cents. The average rent at that time was $118 a month. And the average price of a house was $3,660. But at this time, the Lawsons come into notoriety with a barbershop. And you were one of those barbers.
Yes.
And you are?
Henry Lawson.
And where are you in the structure of the brothers?
The oldest brother.
You're the oldest brother. Tell us a little bit about barbering, going into business, the Lawson family.
Well, the time we came here in 1958 and on, and we started off working to the city hospital. 6 brothers worked for the city hospital for several years, but right after we went there and started to work, we had been cutting a little hair down south barbers, and we decided we'd go to barber school. And all of us turned in, and all 6 of us went to barber school. We'd work in the go to school in the morning, and come back and work at the city hospital from 4 to 5 o'clock till about 10:30, 11 o'clock, till we all come out of the barber school. But we come out, some come out a little before others. And I was about the same. And I was working for the city hospital when I came out of school. And I felt pretty good and secure, because that's what I really knowed then. And going to school, I depended on that, but that check was coming on a Tuesday. What money, they paid you cash money then. And I stayed there. We all stayed around there till about 2 years later. And I wanted to come, some of them had already come out of school. And I was working on I worked pretty good, and the lady said, I would like for you to work for me. I was out of school now. I could pick my days kind of at the city hospital, but I was working Monday to Friday. But they liked me fairly well, and they put me working every Saturday and Sunday. And I didn't like it, but I didn't say nothing. And so I remember one afternoon, some old lady said to me, well, you've been to barber school, why you don't go to work cutting hair? And another lady says, if he could trust that, that's what he would do. And and the minute she said that, my mind clicked. I'm going to quit. And I didn't tell the brothers, but the first week I quit the city hospital, I didn't trust it, but I went on. And after all, I don't even know when the last paycheck come, I was doing fairly well. I thought I was going to miss that check, and I didn't even miss that check. And then another brother had just come out, and I went to work for him. And we worked together for about 2 years. And then Sam, he came out, and we went to work, two brothers went to work. And the other brother took another brother, he took my place on Sherman Ave, 626 Sherman Ave. And that worked very well. And then another brother came out, and he went to work on Erie Street and had his own place, and he took the other brother with him. And so everybody, there's two in each barbershop. And that went on for several years. So it looked like later on said folks were talking about, this might have been brought up before, that why we don't just get one big shop. Some of us said, well, Stop and Shop got more than one big shop. They got shops all over. And it was mostly Stop and Shop in them days. And so we didn't pay that no mind. We we worked together for years. And then out of a while, we decided we'd get our own shop. And we went to work for ourselves. And we just growed and growed to my notion. And other folks just seemed like watched us. And we were young then. But I had confidence to know that I could make some money. But I ignored folks talking about how you were doing pretty good. I ignored it. Because you're young, you ain't going to pay that much attention as you get older. And we were doing very well, but I didn't know it. But now we've got that kind of straightened out. And the next thing we were doing, I'm the oldest one, I guess, and I won a house. And I went to purchase me a house. And about 3 months, we brothers bought our mother a new home. And she enjoyed it so good. And the help of God, it was bought in 100 yards of where she wanted. And we didn't have no idea that was going to happen. And then all the other brothers, I had my new home. And all the other brothers come back, well, we got to get a home too. And that's when all of us went and bought our own home. And then I always, as they could say, I'd take a chance on anything I thought some money in, it was honest. To get them together, they'd say that we started them,
not giving up, going on the right way, honest way, no jail, and they think of what we've done and talk about it up to the day. And all of them is like us in the 60s and 65s and such as that. And I think that folks should ought to be that way now. And young boys that's coming along, their parents, and I'd say it's why some of them ain't doing as good as they ought to, for the parents ain't there with the kids to bring them up. And we got some in our family, it didn't do that good, following in our footsteps. But my niece, and all, as we go to so far, we've been doing very well, but I had a good mother to stay there and that helped me out, and that made me stay straight. And I was always in line, and because she was in line, and that made me, and we stayed together till 65, 70 years. And it's still going on now. We are still doing good. And I think that the older people should always share that with the younger kids to see what other folks have done, and they can see what we have done, and to share the things that I hadn't yet really give a thought was that he was coming to me a little while back. He said, you know, I was thinking about you all, how long you been here, and y'all still in business. He said that's something to think about.
Let me ask you a question, because something that you have done, most men, let alone women and young people, would not do. Let's talk about your faith in yourself, and when you stepped out away from the job, the security of that monthly, weekly check, not knowing what was going to happen, was it your faith that steered you along?
Well, I'm going to get into that, yeah. But my faith did do that. My guidance come from 7 years. My daddy lived, and he gave me that faith by the help of God. And he was a church man, and he gave me that faith that you're talking about, and I didn't give that up. You make a good point.
And along with that, I detect a certain amount of sharing of knowledge. You've taken other people along the road, your road, and help them. So along with that is teaching as you go. Would you talk about that?
Well, that makes
young people.
The young people. I would love to one day to get with some of them and talk about that, and talk about what the family can do, and tell them about loving the mother and father. I would love to get to someone, and it is use, and after you talk with them, and let them stand up and go hug the mother or the father, and they see the difference. It's to put some around a person when he can touch his mama or daddy and say, I love you. That makes a difference. Now, I didn't say pay for it, but I cleared about $10,000. And I told you, as a young man, $10,000 a lot of money. And I got some more property, and I could get that for small money. And I made money. That's mine. I could cut off it. But I made never catch up in them days. And I was looking at 12 o'clock, and I was so hungry at 1 o'clock. I said, what can I do to slow me up because I'm tired. And I thought about looking at how good this man was doing. And I went out and bought me 2 trucks.
Was this at lunchtime?
2 all trucks.
Uh-huh.
Not that day, but I thought about it, what I was going to do later. And I don't know where this was January or February, but I bought them trucks in the summertime so that I'd be ready. And the winter time come, I was flocked with people. And I stayed in oil business until my son didn't want to work, and I come out of it. But I enjoyed. I had about 10 years. If pleasure, I had plenty of money, sacks of honest for the summer, and I was never had to be home. My sister-in-law took care of my books, and I just enjoyed myself. But I didn't throw away everything I had, but I had so much money I could enjoy myself. One day, I didn't need to borrow no money, particular. I looked and I had $40,000 in the house at one time. That don't go to put in the bank. And I said, that's a lot of money. But I quit cutting hair for about 15 or 20 years because I didn't need that money. And for the years after I sold out, and I went back in the barber business. And I come back in the barber business, and I stayed in the barber business from 91 till last year. And I enjoyed that, but because I come back, I never lost. It's like you say, if you got that faith, you don't lose. And I come back in the barbershop, done just as good as I ever done.
Now, you also talked about your success, but
Yeah.
you weren't concerned with that. You were just concerned with doing your business. Is that a trait that a person should have when they go into business? Don't concern yourself with what people are saying, just do your business?
Well, yeah, but I think you could twist that around a little. Sometimes you can do better than somebody with education. But a little bit of that, what I know how to put money away and still do. But a little more education would have put me better off. You understand? And so I don't look back and kick. I tell the kids to get all the education you can. Because education won't fail you. And so that's the little things I do, as my brother say, I don't say, I say some property I want, I'll try to grab it. They say you'll take a chance. Well, that taking a chance, I could lose sometime. So, because I got by with no education, I made it good. But I wouldn't tell you or your kid, your children, to do that. And so education is good, but I just tell people that don't get it. They don't have to give up there. If they got faith, there's always a way out there. It's that you can make it. Everybody that live, God ain't put nobody here. I ain't trying to preach to you, but He didn't get some. God give everybody something to go on. If it's faith, it let you. If you think of a baby be born, he got faith, cause he gonna holler. That show he fuck, and you got faith, but you might move. But God don't get everybody, the little faith, that's all you need. A little faith. That's all you need. My little faith. Yeah, you ain't got God taught not. You ain't never. I think God taught about no big faith. He said little faith, and that's all.
It even says in the Bible, faith the size of a mustard
there
seed
you go.
will move a mountain.
He didn't say a cabbage. He said a mustard seed.
Right.
So you don't have to give up because you don't. But always you tell your your children to get an education.
So education is part of this equation of success in business.
It
faith,
is.
Education, continued education.
Yes, sir.
And just keep on moving.
You can't lose.
Keep on doing your business. Let's talk about Sam Lawson, your brother. Sam's going to be honored for 40 years of service. Could you talk a little bit from your perspective of Sam Lawson?
Well, I could, him and I didn't want to work together for, well, probably be it, Robert. We're for 20 years, at least 15 or 20 years. I went in the barbershop, I heard right quick, and but to come out, we went on Erie Street together. I believe 15 or 20 years. We worked together, and I'll say every one of my brothers, they might not want to say so, they didn't do what I said do. They done what he seen me do. And I'm telling you right for them. If I done something, honest, they always, so Sam was one of the ones to work with me. And the minute I went out and bought the new home, he went out and got him one. But I already had some houses in the city. And he always would follow me, but he I'll have to say, he got an education. I'm the only one that didn't get education because I was the oldest one. I had to started to work by about 8 years ago, 8 years old. And so I had to really get it. And so Sam was the one that always watch what I do. And it worked. And later years, probably some of the things he'd done might have worked by him having the education, might have worked a little bit by what I was doing. Because I bought property and I sold it a little lower than I should ought to. And probably, I wasn't thinking quick enough, but I made money. And so that's what he done. He went out and bought, and it worked good, but it might not work as good as he wanted. But him and I worked together. And I could say maybe some of the things he'd done, I might have done, I watched, and I might have done some things he'd done. So he done very good too.
So it's also picking a good role model.
Yeah, that's right.
And
you see,
and one played off the other.
You
were a good role model on one thing. Sam was a good role model on another thing. Your other brother was a good role model.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You see, you don't know it all.
Right.
And so that's what I say. And I could set you in, and I could talk from now to tomorrow morning about all the things I done was mistakes and good things. And I'd say I might have done more to cover up the bad things, and that thing worked out pretty good, very good. I look at the property that I got and the money that I made, and then I made enough money that I could buy a piece of sell a piece of property, and buy another piece, and I was pretty good at it. But if I'd have had a good education, thank God, But if I'd had a good education, I might could have been a big real estate company. You see my point?
What I'd like for you to do at this point, before we close, I'd like for you to look into the camera and talk to your brother Sam. And what would you say to Sam now? I mean, how are you feeling about him being honored? Needless to say, this is representative of the entire Lawson family, all the sisters, all the brothers, all the nieces, nephews, cousins. What would you say to Sam?
Well, thank God for what all of us have done, Sam and all of the family, plus other families that were concerned about us. And I would say Sam, I think a good role model for us. What he couldn't put together, I could get a little bit of it and I could put it together. But some things I probably couldn't put together quick as he could. He took it and put it together, and it worked better by we being partners, brothers, and worked better than in my way. But so I'd have to say he done a good job, and he's still trying to do a good job. And it's, like I say, time for us to kind of slow up a little now. And I'd like for him to slow up. But the role model he played, and I think that it goes a long ways for just me, plus other people. But I could say myself first. And I'd say again, with all my brothers, we've been trying to help one another so good that we ain't seen no rough times, thank God, since we've been in Boston. And so I did have to say that about Sam. He's been a good role model. At first, and your family, wife, and kids. So that's as far as I think as far as I can go on and on. But that is a role model.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My name is Herman Lawson.
And your profession is?
My profession is barbering and hairdressing.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing barbering as a licensed barber for 55 years.
55 years. Around 1962?
That's right, 61.
61.
Yeah.
What enticed you about cutting hair? Or going into the profession of cutting hair?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to back up a little bit. From on the farm down in Carolina, I had always thought that I could cut hair, and I could see something that could get me over cutting hair. And I'd be working in the field, and that was my dream. So my thing was to go to Durham, the barber school, and take it up so I could get into the barbering. And so I missed that a little because I come to Boston, and I only missed it I done just didn't go to Durham, but I come to Boston and went to barber school. And then my dream was to work for somebody and get my business as quick as I could. I didn't cut throats or anything to get my business. I didn't treat nobody wrong, anything. I did treat everybody right. The owner didn't try to over him, and just worked my way up. So I finally got into the shop business. Think about it, I am the first one was in the shop business. I would say it's truly that I'm the one that caused all the others to come in. I'm the first one. Not the oldest one, but the first one.
The first one, yeah. were there any doubts, any hesitancy, or what caused you to step out on blind faith, if you will allow me to use that term, that you would step out and to go into business at a time when a lot of people probably would have been frightened to do it? Was it something about being in business for yourself?
Well, the time I went in business, you know, like I would really think of, you know, like a dollar, you could do pretty great things for a dollar if you just could get a hold of it. And so that way I said, well, I was working another job too. And with that, I said, I think I'd go into business. And I just really, everything looked pretty bright from the time I went in business all the way through. And what I did, I watched my business and not other folks's. I kept my mind on what I need to do and not looking at somebody else. Maybe they're a little bit ahead of me, so I'm looking at them, and now I'm missing my goal, but watching other people, I watch myself, watch my step.
Were there any doubts? And if there were some doubts, how did you handle those doubts?
I'll be honest with you, I had no doubts when I went in business that I wouldn't.
Would you say it was a conviction that you were going to go into business and you weren't turning back?
Oh yes, yes, yeah.
One thing that I admire about the Lawson brothers and sisters is this camaraderie of getting together, working out things,
yeah,
and talking things out. Do you believe that was an asset?
Yes, that was had a lot to do with it. You know, really, if you, like I said, there's 4 or 5 brothers, and which it was 6 of us, and everybody believed if you had a plan, they believed too it would work. So that give you a motivation to push harder. And so that's what I think that's what really motivated the whole thing.
Sam Lawson, your brother,
yes,
is about to be recognized for 40 years of community service.
yes.
Anything you would like to say to Sam? If I was Sam, what would you say to Sam?
Well, I'd say that you've done a good job through the 40 years, and you, in your business, you cause people to like you, like your work, and that really makes you feel good as you going on. You don't have a lot of, we do know everybody got some enemies, but there's not more enemies than is good people. And so most time that he went along pretty smooth because people liked him, liked his work and everything. And so I think he did a good job and treating the people right, cutting the best haircuts you could cut. Not trying to cut better than everybody else, but cut the best of your knowledge and all that. Do your work. So,
and from what I read in your bio from your website, this is very consistent with your thinking, that you've always believed in your ability. And you think Sam followed that trait? You think you were a role model to Sam?
Well, yes, I had to be called. Everyone come after me, everyone, and so they could see something that that I was doing that was getting me over, and I think that's why that everybody come in. So, not trying to pat myself on the back and thing, but I think everybody came in after me, and I would be the reason that they did come in.
So, it's congratulations to Sam for listening to his brother.
Yes, I guess it would be that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Deirdre Lawson.
And how are you related to Sam Lawson?
I am Sam's sister. I'm his youngest sister.
What's your feelings about Sam? Is he a role model? He's a good brother? What do you think about Sam?
Sam, as my brother, I would say, is like seasoning in a kitchen. You have salt, pepper, sugar, and spice. Sam would be the spice in our family. He's one of the spices.
Do you think he's funny?
All the time.
All the time.
Every day.
He kind of keeps the spirit in life.
He keeps a spice in the family. He works hard to make sure that everybody is comfortable with themselves, and he himself tries very hard to make everybody comfortable.
And I have the pleasure of knowing Sam as a friend, also as my barber, also for about 18 years, if I remember correctly. You know, Sam is about to be honored for 40 years of service to the community. Is there anything particular you'd like to say to Sam at this time as your brother?
Yes, I would. I would say to Sam, Sam, you know that we love you, and me in particular. And I know in particular my sister in North Carolina would also like to say you are one of the best brothers. Out of the 6, you're right in the top of the pack. You are the best brother. I say that this honor has not come a day too soon. I hope that you take advantage of the honor and take time to take a break for yourself.
One question. Do you cut hair?
No, I do not.
Does any of their sisters cut hair?
None of my immediate sisters, but their children have. They've fallen into the tradition of following behind their uncles. And there's a lot of the ladies in the family that do cut hair, but none of the direct sisters cut hair. We've never gotten into the hair business for some reason.
But you're in business.
Yes, we all do various things.
In business.
Yes.
Would you say business is synonymous with Lawson and the Lawson family?
I would probably say entrepreneurship is synonymous with Lawson. As a very young child, my mother taught us to be independent, to know that you have to make it yourself. You have to go out and get what you want in order for you to be able to accomplish the things that you want. So she had an old saying, which was kind of funny: I can do anything that anybody else can do. So that was kind of instilled in me as a child, that if I wanted to do something, I had to put forth the effort to do it and make sure that I not be a follower, but I was in the leadership pack. I'm not necessarily saying being the leader, but having the characteristics and qualifications of taking on the responsibility of leadership if I had to.
And that's been very consistent with the Lawson family, that you're in business, you're in the community. Not only are you working in the community, but you're teaching in the community. And it's not every day you hear a story like this. And that's why I'm very proud to shoot this story. For those young people that might be viewing this show, is there some tidbit of inspiration you would share with them, whether it be through your religion, your faith, or business, or whatever, that you would help them along their path?
I'd say, first of all, you need to get, and not that education is totally responsibility for success. As I look at the successful people that I know, I don't always equate success with education, but it is important that you do have the fundamentals for performing in whatever task that you set out to perform in. Also, the second main thing I see in being successful is that you get people to like you and to trust you. Those are key fundamental factors, because unless a person like you and can trust you, they will not want to do business with you.
Mm-hmm. And would this be consistent with providing the product that you said that you would provide? Is that part of the makeup?
Being consistent in time, being consistent in whatever it is that you're doing. If in my brother's particular cases, I've noticed that they are religious about opening on time, which is not a big factor in a lot of people's lives. But any time that you go by the Lawson barbershops, you can find them open on time. They will not be late. They open on time or before that time. And people begin to, they respect that. They know if at 9 o'clock they're supposed to be open, they can always go there and expect to see them in that place. Some people forget and say, I'll just be late today. Time is important. And even though you might say, well, he's not doing anything or she's not working, so it doesn't matter whether I'm on time or not, but time is critical to even the people that are not doing anything.
One of the things that I've noticed about the Lawson family, along with business, along with entrepreneurship, is a strong conviction in religion. Does this play a key part in your success, in the Lawson success?
I would say that it does, because my mother has always, from the time we were children, or at least I was a child, and I know even more so with my older siblings, my mother always made sure that we were active. Not only did we go to church, that we participated and we were active in the church. So religion has always been a stronghold in my family, because in order for you to be successful, as I said, you have to have characteristics of people being able to trust you. And trust is important in religion as it is in everything else. That people respect you for what you're saying or what you're doing.
Thank you.
Burn it, burn it, burn it, burn it, burn it, burn it. Charmaine. You got me losing sleep.